Final hour of the Friday edition of Today here on eNCA, DSTV Channel 43 with me, Dan Moyane, ahead of our Heritage Weekend. Now, temperatures are starting to rise after the winter months, and with that, the demand for water is also up. But for some communities in parts of Johannesburg, the taps have been dry. A combination of infrastructure failure and inadequate maintenance, compounded by power cuts and high consumption, have left reservoirs critically low. Johannesburg Water and the city's Environment and Infrastructure Services Department have been providing an update today about this ongoing water crisis. Listening to them and asking some tough questions was Heidi Giokos, but she's back and she's here in studio with me. Welcome to Today, Heidi. Good to see you up close. Tell me, what happened? I mean, what is the explanation really? What's going on with the water in Johannesburg?
Yes, so according to Joburg Water, this all has to do with how Rand Water can't pump water to Joburg Water reservoirs quick and fast enough, given the fact that there's a very high demand, there are infrastructure challenges, there was stage 6 load shedding, and on Tuesday night we had that freak storm that seems to have affected certain areas, including the Zekerbosch water treatment plants, which seems to also have significantly impacted reservoirs and Joburg Water infrastructure. However, the challenge here is that we are being told that because it's spring and people are using a lot more water, they're struggling to keep up with the demand. But this is a question that I asked on Wednesday, and I asked it again today. It's not the first time that we have spring. It's not the first time that you're going to have residents.
Not the last time either.
Yes, not the first or the last time. And it's not the first or the last time that you are going to have residents that are going to overuse water. Why have measures not been put in place, and why aren't the specific areas or the specific households that are over-consuming be dealt with instead of this being a blanket approach to a number of areas? Half of the city of Johannesburg does not have water, literally. Hospitals are needing to find alternative means to get water into their actual hospital pipes, water pipes, to make sure that there's constant supply to hospitals in terms of water. They have to get private contractors in to bring water tanks because Joburg Water can't keep up. It's basically a nightmare. Residents are really frustrated, and Joburg Water says hopefully by mid next week everything will be sorted out. Areas such as Sandton, Morningside, Midrand, Ilovo that have been experiencing water issues will be sorted out by tomorrow. Let's listen to what Joburg Water had to say about these issues.
As at Friday, 22 September, Rand water system has started improving. Although there are certain key reservoirs that feed Johannesburg Water that are still low, Rand water is shifting loads in order to balance the system. Some of Johannesburg Water system that are seeing improvements and receiving normal flow, including Midrand, where we are experiencing improvement overnight in the reservoir levels. We also expect some improvements overnight in Sandton Ilovo system. Johannesburg Water system that are still under immense strain include following: South Hills Tower and Pump Station, Crown Gardens, Commando System, Naturena, Midrand System, Alexander Park, as well as Sandton Ilovo Reservoir System.
It's going to get hotter. We're told by meteorologists El Nino effect, it's going to get hotter and drier. We're going to need more water. So what are they saying? What is the city of Joburg saying about our consumption?
Look, I think it is fair, Bradan, to have residents be very cautious and understanding of you cannot be reckless. Wasteful, that's the word. You cannot be wasteful when it comes to water consumption. You have to be cognizant of how much you use. But I think it's a little bit extreme when you have Joburg Water and the MMC for Infrastructure telling residents that they should shorten the time that they shower. I think that is rather unacceptable and unreasonable, given that many people don't even have water to shorten their shower time, because half of Joburg does not have water at this particular stage. And
after a few days without water, you need that shower in this heat.
Yes,
now imagine you just step in and step out. You like go chi and out. I mean, really, Joburg, come on, man.
No, but you know what's even more fascinating? The MMC live on eNCA told me that I must brush my teeth with a glass of water. Now I sent the tap running, and I said, but I don't let the tap just run. I am very aware of how much water I consume, but it's just these things that they're putting on residents to say, be careful. But what about what the city is doing? What about what Joburg Water is doing?
They need to fix the leaks, Phil. You drive around, you see many leak of clean water leaking everywhere.
And speaking of leaks, Joburg Water loses 24% of physical water loss because of the leaks, of burst pipes, of underground water leaks that they don't see. And given the size of Joburg Water, it's only supposed to be at 10%. So we are 14% over of what we actually
More than
should
double.
Be. Exactly.
Yeah. But I mean, I understand, and seriously, we need to conserve water. We need to use water properly, because the world is in a different place when it comes to climate change. It's a real reality.
Yeah. It definitely is, and I understand the call by Joburg Water. But at the end of the day, residents need to understand what the problems are, and I don't think we do understand, because when I asked the MMC today to say, are you worried about the city? At the end of the briefing, he said, I'm very worried. We need money to deal with maintenance. We need money to upgrade our infrastructure. Everything is dilapidated, and if you have water infrastructure that is crumbling, it's a huge concern. I'm not saying it's better to not have electricity, but with electricity it's a little bit better, Bradan, because you can work around it, and it's one switch and the electricity is back. With water, it takes hours, sometimes days, for reservoirs to fill up.
And water is life, eh?
Exactly, and if reservoirs themselves have cracks and issues, that is a huge concern, and that's where we are at the moment. But let's listen to what the city is saying in terms of getting residents to be cognizant of how much water they use.
But when we say that residents must use water sparingly, we are not only referring to the current situation now. We are speaking generally from now going forward. It should be a habit on our own residents. We want to change the mindset of our people in terms of how they use water. We must indicate, MD, that at some stage, a couple of weeks ago, Rainwater was beginning to do some water cuts in Johannesburg. There's a concern that we're over-consuming in Johannesburg, so we can't. There's a number of kiloliters that we must use. Once we reach above, then we become penalized by Rainwater. So we'd have reached our own license requirement. But I think it's general attitude that people must change. How we do our car wash in our own townships and everywhere. People are living, when you do bath your own, yourself, brushing your own teeth, you must use a cup, not just leave the... I'm saying, Heidi, don't just use the tap flowing full time while you are busy brushing. The tap is flowing.
Thank you very much. That's Heidi Giokos. They're just updating us about what Joburg city officials had to say about the current water crisis in parts of the metro.